Hello, everybody, and welcome to the AMPM podcast. My name is Manny Coates, and I will be your host, and this is the show where we discuss all things Amazon private label and how to generate recurring revenue streams 24 hours per day during the AM and the PM, hence the name of the show. Get it? AMPM podcast. My buddy makes the world's strongest coffee. It's called Banned Coffee. It's actually really tasty, and it's on Amazon. And so this morning, I drank my normal 24-ounce coffee, but this time it was with Banned Coffee. And let me tell you, while I was bouncing off the walls with an insane caffeine high, I was making money. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. Manny Coates here, and I'm here with my good friend, Kevin King. Kevin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good, man. How are you doing, Manny?
I am tired, but excited. It's been a long day. It's Friday. It's the end of the week, and I know we've been hustling over here. I know you have too. You've got a lot of things going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Money never sleeps, Manny. Friday's just another day in the world of making money. Money never sleeps.
I know. I've heard that so many times from you. So I need to sleep, though. Manny needs to sleep. So, hey, so today I want to talk to you about a few things. For those of you guys that don't know who Kevin King is, he's a big deal in this industry, actually. I met Kevin, I guess, almost a couple of years ago. He was talking about, I saw him on a group. He was posting something about Spanish keywords, and I reached out to him to ask him a few questions about it because it seemed kind of weird, implemented it, and then suddenly my sales skyrocketed for that particular listing. I'm like, wow, this guy knows what he's talking about. Had him come on. We did a podcast, which became one of the most popular, if not the most popular podcast we'd ever done. People wanted part 2. We did that. And then Kevin's gone on to speak at events. He's the lead mentor over at our Illuminati Mastermind live conferences. He comes on the monthly training. He's got a brand new, super awesome beginner's course. It takes you from beginner to, I would say, probably an intermediate level. Maybe even you even got some advanced tactics in there. That's called Freedom Ticket. And we're going to talk a little bit about all of these things, but I kind of want to go back almost to the beginning where all of this started, because we have, it's been a while now. We have a lot of new users that have come in that are just starting out. So I think we should go back to the roots and just talk about the basics and how to get started, what to do, what you look for, how you get products, that kind of stuff. So if you got some time, that's what I like to do. What do you think?
I'm ready, Manny. We can do it.
All right, cool. So your latest thing that you've done was Freedom Ticket, right? And that's at freedomticket.com. That's something that we partnered on. It's really, really cool. It's good training. You want to say just a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I really didn't want to do the Freedom Ticket. We're doing the Illuminati, and you and I are so busy running our own businesses, doing the more advanced training. But, there's so many courses out there. There's so many YouTube videos, Udemy courses. Every Tom, Dick, and Harry has a course on how to sell on Amazon. And to be honest, I started looking at them, and a lot of them, they're crap. You pay a lot of money for something, and you get in there, and it just doesn't teach you much. And most of them that are good, there are a few really good ones out there. They're teaching everybody the same formula. They're saying, this is the formula, do this, this, and this. They don't teach you how to think on your own. They don't really give you the fundamentals. They don't really tell you, this is how the business works. This is why it works that way, so that you can use your own information, your own brain to go out there and really find your success. And what happens is everybody's doing the same thing. They're saying, fits in a shoebox, weighs less than a pound, has this BSR, has this many sales, has this. And it's like a magic button that you're supposed to push. And frankly, it works for a few people, but for most of them, it doesn't. So with the Freedom Ticket, I developed it's like 21 hours of training, like 60 modules, a lot of over-the-shoulder stuff. And I start from the very beginning. It's not just like, here's what to do, and next week you're going to retire. It's like, this is how the business works, from the incorporation to the trademarking to the launching a product to the PPC. It's a very thorough course. And the feedback we've gotten, we just had the first group of about 150 students go through it, and the feedback has been overwhelming. And the thing that I like to do, that probably my favorite thing about the course, is every Monday, for the people who remember, I do a live Q&A, and I don't know what's going to be asked of me, and I answer every single question. So you have direct access to me every single Monday for about an hour as a live Q&A. And I think a lot of people are saying that's their best benefit is because in business, if you listen to the guy that wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or some of the big business leaders, they say you need a mentor. not an advisor. An advisor is someone who may have gone to school or may have studied it and has given you advice, but they've never actually done it. You need a mentor, and we all need good mentors in this business, someone that's actually doing it. And frankly, a lot of the people that are teaching these courses, they aren't doing it. Or they might have done it and launched one product, and then they're like, you know what, I'm not making too much money here. I can make more money selling a course. And they're doing the course, and they don't really know the business side of it, and they don't really know. And so that's what I'm trying to do, is trying to be a mentor to these people and really help them. Because, Amazon just put out a stat last year. I just saw this actually today. Something like 700,000 new Amazon seller accounts were established in the United States. Just Amazon.com. Forget Europe and other Amazon marketplaces. Just in the US, 700,000 new accounts were established last year on Amazon as third-party sellers, like what we do, the FBA sellers. And then they analyzed how many of those were still selling after 1 year. It's 13,000. And they determined that sales are based on, they had one seller feedback. They had to have at least one seller feedback, and they consider them continuing to sell. So that shows you the 700,000 new accounts. Some of those are probably Chinese guys doing all kinds of crazy stuff, or Indonesian people doing stuff for the bots or whatever, but only 13,000. So a lot of people are out there like, this market is saying, Amazon is done. There's no opportunity, should have been in 3 years ago. It's too saturated. There's nothing further from the truth. If you look at that, you can look at the people that take these courses. You can look on the left and the right. Those two people aren't going to be there in a year. So it weeds itself out. And what I'm trying to do is, and one of the reasons is because most of these courses and most of the training that's out there is not really teaching you what you need to know. They're trying to teach you a magic bullet, and the people bite because they're like, I want to get rich. I want to quit my job now. And look at this guy. And they're not really teaching you how to do a fundamental business, how to really make this into a real business. And that's what I'm trying to do. And I enjoy helping people. And I like to shoot it straight. I've had my failures and my successes, and I don't sugarcoat it. And I think a lot of people like that.
Absolutely. And I know that when we partnered up on this, one of the things that I wanted was to make sure that there was no risk for anybody. I know that you were going to just blow their minds on all the training, all the tactics, strategies. But I said, you know what, if somebody, for some reason, it's just not for them, they just don't gel well with the way you're presenting something. I said, you know what, there's a money back guarantee. Give it a shot. We're pretty confident that everybody that takes it is going to love it. It's going to take you to the next level. And as you mentioned, they've got you as a mentor. They've got you coming on where they can actually ask you questions live, right? And you can answer their questions and actually help them out, which is crazy. I wish I had that when I started this a couple of years ago. And to go back to your point, where people might say, oh, it's dead, it's too crowded. It's not, guys. I doubled my numbers from the previous year to the last year, and I'm doing this certainly not full time at this point, right? Because I'm running Helium 10 and the podcast and the Facebook group and all kinds of different stuff, and I was still able to double it. So if you know the tools and the strategies, and you've got a mentor that can actually help you with this, and teach you the fundamentals, like he says, the basics, what you really need to know, and not just what everybody is regurgitating, what everybody is saying, you need to do, then you can go pretty far. And you're right, Kevin, because a lot of times, a lot of things you see in these courses don't even make sense anymore. Like they're saying something like, that was like 2 years ago, 3 years ago. That's going to put you at a disadvantage now.
And there's a lot of YouTube. I mean, you can get some good knowledge out there. I mean, listening to podcasts like the AMPM podcast or some other really good ones, that's a great way to get some good knowledge and to get your head around the terminology and to learn some stuff. And then there's a lot of YouTube, Facebook groups, but there's a lot of misinformation in these Facebook groups. There's a lot of so-called experts that'll post stuff or post an answer, and it becomes the gospel, and there's nothing further from the truth. I mean, I get disillusioned with some of these Facebook groups sometimes. There's so much misinformation.
Yeah.
What really works and what doesn't work.
The other thing also to keep in mind, guys, if you're looking at courses, you've got to you keep your eyes open. Okay. Most courses out there have affiliate programs. So if you're reading a review, you got to step back and ask yourself, is this somebody that's, shilling this? Are they promoting this to make a dollar off of you? And if so, is this really an honest review? So I recommend, do your own research, go out there. Maybe if these guys have money back guarantees, check them out. And if you don't like it, get your money back. Same thing with Freedom Ticket. Check it out, see if it's for you. And if not, there's a money back guarantee. One of the things that, like Kevin said, though, is you're going to have access to him through the Q&As, and that's done on a regular basis. So, I have not actually partnered with too many people on things. Kevin's one of the few people that has the integrity that I like, that actually knows what he's talking about. He's not just selling courses. He's actually out there, getting rolling up his sleeves and doing this, and the guy, I mean, there's a reason why he's he's part of the Illuminati Mastermind and instructing, what is it, Kevin, that I think the collective now is over $300 million in terms of the group, in terms of sales. Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than $300 million the people we have in there. And we just got a fresh group of people in there. So we're going to have to update that figure.
Yeah.
And who knows? It might have gone higher. We got to add your extra 1.5 that you did this year into that. Because, you're my best student.
Oh, come on now. Yeah. Hey, 1.6 something. Anyways, guys, so let's if you guys, by the way, if you're interested, that's over at freedomticket.com. We just wanted to present that to you. It's really, really cool, really high value. For the price. It's an incredible investment. Again, you're going to get Kevin, not just the training. So it's like 1 in a million out there. It's really cool. It gets my full endorsement, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it if you're just starting out to do that, because you're going to skip all the pains and the things that people, I guess, stumble over or stumble.
You know what's interesting, Manny? I mean, the course was made for beginners because it takes you from A to Z on the whole business side and everything. But we have actually a few Illuminati people that are already selling $25,000, $30,000 a month that have actually taken the Freedom Ticket course, and they've said that it's helped them understand the business. And even though they know some of the basics already, some of the information, they're like, you know what, I had no idea about this, and this is really helping me. I had a lady the other day who just bought a business. She bought a business, and she's like, I bought an Amazon business, and she's like, I need to know more about, how to do this, this, and this. And so she's come on. So hopefully I'm helping a lot of people, and I'd love to, invite more people in. I love seeing people succeed.
Cool. Awesome. Well, let's go to the very beginning. Somebody wants to get involved, and let's just say they've got some money together. They want to source a product. Should they go to China, first of all?
That depends on what you're selling. I mean, China is where most people go, but I mean, there's a lot of advantages to selling stuff that's sourced out of the United States. Sometimes made in the USA can actually get you a lot of extra sales. If you're selling pet products or consumables or something like that, you're probably going to want to stick more to the US. If you're selling things made of plastic or toys or some of the beauty mirrors or things like that, you might want to go to China because the costs are significantly lower. But you got to weigh the differences. Sometimes the price in China might be lower, but by the time you factor in customs duties and shipping it over and all that kind of stuff, it might not be much lower than doing it in the United States. And the time frame to get it out of China is significantly longer in most cases than doing it out of the United States. And there's people that can source. I mean, those are the two big ones. There's a lot of textiles and stuff coming out of India and Pakistan, and but China. I mean, the advantage to China is they're set up for this. This is what their whole economy almost runs on, is they're the world's factory, and so all the stuff is in place. From the shipping agents to everything, it's like a well-greased machine. Versus going to some other places, it's a little more trouble. But sometimes you can find, good stuff. There's an herb in Colombia. There's an ingredient in Colombia. It's only found like in the Amazon of Colombia. That's kind of like the argan oil of Morocco became really hot a few years ago. And there's a new oil coming out of Colombia that's kind of like an argan oil. It can only be gotten out of the Amazon, and it's used in beauty products and does wonders for the skin and stuff. So sometimes, you got to look outside the box, and you can find stuff too. But the key on selling on Amazon that a lot of people overlook is you don't want to reinvent the wheel. Amazon, the key to making money on Amazon is not, hey, I've got a brilliant idea, let's invent this and sell it. It's actually seeing what is selling already on Amazon and satisfying that demand, or seeing what's already selling and has a problem, and looking through the reviews and seeing what people are complaining about. And fixing that problem, and then inserting yourself into that sales stream is the key to Amazon. It's all about, Amazon's a very numbers business. If you're not good at numbers and analyzing data, get someone on your team that is, because that's where the money's made. If you're good at looking, it's strictly numbers. It's not an emotional, this is a cool product, my product is better. It's all about the numbers, and that's where the money's made on Amazon.
Would you consider let's say you're researching a product, a specific product, and almost all of the products have 3 stars, 3.5 stars, are pretty low. Would you consider jumping into that market and reading the reviews, finding out what the issues are, building something that doesn't have those issues, and then coming in and being one of those 4-star, 5-star products? Or would you be like, man, every product has 3 stars, 3.5, I'm going to stay away because it's probably one of those things that just no matter what is unfixable?
No, that's not necessarily unfixable. It depends. I mean, but yeah, no, if most of the stuff has 3.5 stars and I think I can fix whatever people are complaining about, sure, I would go into that market if I thought I could do it. As long as, some of those 3.5 stars don't have too many reviews, because reviews are the social proof in this business. So it's very difficult to compete against if a lot of the products, even if they have 3.5 stars and you're going to put out a 4-star product that you think it'll be a 4-star product, it's still difficult to compete because those 3.5 stars have 10,000 reviews each, because the social proof is so strong still. And that's a major factor. And that's a disadvantage to people who are entering the Amazon market right now, is that there's some products that have been selling for 2, 3, 4 years, and they have a very strong foothold. Now, I think Casey, over at Viral Launch, he's of the opinion, and I kind of agree with him. He thinks that Amazon's probably going to make a change in the next year or two or soon, where kind of like what PayPal did when PayPal first started and eBay first started. Some of those, they would say, PayPal actually did this. They said, they said for social proof, they would tell you how many transactions you'd done through PayPal. You could see on your PayPal account 900 transactions, 901, 902, and it kept going up, and they finally capped it at like 1,000. So I think that Amazon's probably going to do something similar, because they need it. They need to freshen up the marketplace, and they may put a cap that reviews don't go above 1,000. Once you hit 1,000 reviews, it just stops. You're at 1,000, no matter if you have 10,000 or 20,000, because Amazon doesn't care. Amazon wants to give the customer the best experience. And so if some of these products that have so many reviews, that have such an advantage, they may not be the best product. So it makes it hard for someone that has a new product, that you're saying here, I have the 4-star product and all these others are 3.5. It makes it hard for me to give the customer a better experience, because my product, even though it's better and I fixed the problem, I just can't compete because these guys have so many reviews. And Amazon's all about the customer. And so they're probably going to make a change. Casey is the one that said this first, and I agree with it. I think that's going to be a change. And I think another big change that's coming is, I think you're going to lose the ability to do email the customers. I think that's coming pretty soon as well. All the feedback service, the feedback mail services are going to be a dinosaur.
Awesome. So you heard it from the Oracle right here. They're going to be losing the ability to follow up through email, and probably all the big sellers are going to say 1,000 plus, and 23,000 reviews. It'll say also 1,000 plus. Oracle.
I think something like this. I mean, it may be a little bit different than that, but yeah. I think they have to do something, because there's an imbalance in the marketplace, and Amazon's slow to move. So that this might be 3 years from now, but something's going to happen. It almost has to.
Right. Okay. So if somebody is ordering a product, they're manufacturing it now in China. Let's just say they're going to China. One of the biggest mistakes I see people posting about in our Facebook group and the FBA High Rollers group on Facebook is that they're like, oh, I got my product in and it's not like the samples, the packaging was messed up, or they did this or they did that. And I'm realizing people aren't using inspection companies. They're not understanding, or they're thinking I've got to inspect it when it gets here and it's too expensive to ship back. I saw somebody say that. I go, I can't send it all back to my factory because it's going to cost way too much money. They're missing the whole idea of how to do inspections, right? So can you tell us a little bit about how you do this, your process, and then maybe throw out a name or two that you think you would recommend that are good?
Yeah, sure. So the way it works, if you're new to this business, typically most Chinese factories, if you're going to want a 30% deposit, some might want a 40%. I've never paid more than 40. I have one company that I pay 40, the rest are 30. So you can pay them that 30% deposit. You're going to create a pro forma invoice, or some people like to do a big long contract. I don't think that's necessary, until you get really big and you're doing serious numbers. But in the beginning, a pro forma invoice, and on that invoice, you're going to specify several parameters. And one of those is you're going to say is an inspection by independent third-party company is going to be made. And if this inspection fails, and you'll actually say the standards in there, if more than 10 pieces have a serious problem, if more than 25 pieces, whatever your number is, 25 pieces have a minor problem, then the inspection fails. And if the inspection fails, you have to fix the problems in the entire order, and you have to go back and you, the factory, pay for the new inspection using my company. That's what I make my companies do. So I tell them up front, this will be inspected not by someone on your floor, not by your sales agent, but by an independent company. So that tells them, hey, we better not screw around here. We better, make sure this is good. And then my company, once they call me and they say, hey, Kevin, we got your crap ready. I'll be like, okay, my company I use is Top Win Inspection, TOPWIN. There's tons of them out there. I pay about $200. There's some that are cheaper, but I feel that some of the cheaper ones cut corners or they're taking bribes. So Top Win is a good one. They have offices in all the major manufacturing areas in China. They go in and I tell them specific stuff like, look for this, make sure there's no rust on the bar if it's a metal thing, or make sure, this is packed in this way. Drop it from a meter to make sure, drop the cases from a meter to make sure nothing happens. So the factory has everything packaged in the export boxes. It's like it's ready to go on the ship. And so my guys come in, they spend a day and they open everything, they sniff it. If it's a cooking thing, they'll cook, they'll cook eggs on it. If it's has a logo, they'll take a piece of tape and put a piece of Scotch tape and see if the logo comes off. They do everything, and they'll typically on an order of like 1,000 pieces, they'll randomly select 80. Typically, about 80 or so will get randomly selected out of different boxes. And then whatever they find, the factory has to fix. And they send me about a 30-page report with photos of everything, photos of what the office looks like, photos of what the factory floor looks like, photos of what the boxes look like, all the pieces. They'll weigh it. If I have had them where I had on my package, this weighs 2.1 kilos, and it really only weighed 2.02. So they'll tell me that, or whatever it may be. And then I'll decide with the factory, like if there's enough stuff, if it fails, they have to fix it. And I've gone through that. I do that with every single one of my orders. That way it's not here. It hasn't been shipped here yet. I don't have to deal with it here. It's all dealt with on that side. I haven't paid them the rest of their money. And then I also put in a clause similar to what you do, Manny, that says, hey, any defects I get that are found here from the customers from Amazon, you have to give me replacements on the next order, and they'll agree to that. And so then once it passes all this, I give them the rest of their money and they ship it over.
That's awesome.
That way I don't have to deal with anything here. And then I usually also tell them, send me some extra pieces. If say it's an exercise device and it's got 6 different pieces, I'll say, as part of the deal, I want 50 extra pieces of everything, just loose parts. And then I'll say, I want 50 extra, if I'm putting in a really nice box, I want 50 extra boxes. You got to throw those in. And that way, once the product gets here, because nothing's ever going to be perfect. Nothing out of China is 100% perfect. Even though you do an inspection, you're still going to sometimes have an issue. And so I then whatever gets returned from Amazon, I tell Amazon to ship it back to me. And I go through them. And if there's a piece missing, or maybe someone damaged something when they shipped it back to Amazon or whatever, I have the extra pieces. I can then put them back together and I can sell them as used like new, or I can sell them on eBay or somewhere else. And so I minimize my losses that way.
That's great. I want to go back a little bit. You mentioned not only do you get the factory to fix things, but you also have on your purchase order a clause, and something that I do as well. Basically, so that when the product gets here, you're already selling on Amazon. If anybody returns products to Amazon saying that the product was damaged or in some way was defective, you have the clause on there that says, hey, you will reimburse me, or you will actually give me credit for X number of units. Where people actually do that, right? So if you get in a month 100 people that return a product saying it was defective, the factory will give you 100 new units on your next order.
Right. So if my next order is 1,000, they'll make it 1,000 and 1,100 units on my next order is what they'll typically do. Yeah, and I've had to do that several times, and I've even gotten in a fight with one of my factories. I think I mentioned this on a previous podcast. After an inspection, they said, Kevin, there's nothing wrong with the product. There has some small scratches on the side. The product works fine. I said, well, in the United States, a little small scratch on the side is not a new product. And we went round and round. They threatened me with all kinds of stuff. And in the end, they did what I wanted. They opened every single box and they fixed the problem. So you just have to hold your ground. And I have one vendor right now where I've thrown away the money. I have one vendor where I actually ordered the product, paid them, I don't know, $4,000 as the 30% deposit. And then the inspection had an issue. They fixed it. It failed again. And then I did some more research on the market, and I'm like, why the hell did I even do this product? I didn't do my homework properly. I said, fuck it, keep it, do whatever you want with it. And they're like, what? But we're not going to give you your money back. I said, I don't care. And you keep it. It's not worth bringing it over, not worth continuing to go through this. Just don't worry about it. So I'm sure somewhere in China, someone's buying something with my logo on it somewhere.
Oh, geez. Yeah. You see that all the time in the stores when you're walking around. So let's go back. Let's say I've done my research on a product, a lot of 3.5 stars, and it's saying, hey, let's say it's a milk frother, right? And it says the handles are just too small. They don't fit. They're designed for people in China with little hands or something. American hand, I don't know. I'm just using this as a bad example. The hands are too big, right? So how would you go about fixing this if the handle is literally too small? Would you make something with a bigger handle? How does somebody even start to do something like that?
Well, the first thing I would do is, if I'm interested in selling a milk frother, is I would go use the Helium 10 tool, the Chrome extension on Helium 10, and I would download all the reviews. I think it's free.
Yes.
It's a free deal where you can actually hit a button, and I would go to the top 5, 10 sellers of milk frothers and download all the reviews. And then I would filter it by all the negative reviews, looking for what the patterns of complaints. And that's what I would try to fix. So it might be the handle, it might be something else. And then once I found whatever the problem was that people were complaining about, I would emphasize that in my bullet points, that this is the only one on Amazon that has big handles or whatever. And then I would go to the factory and I'd say, look, either that factory can do it, or I'd find another factory that has bigger handles, or if no factories have it, I'm not afraid to make a mold. I've made molds, so I would hire someone off of Upwork, which I've done, and say, I need a CAD design, I need a mold made, here's and the factory might even give you the original CAD, and someone can just go in some cases, I've had the factory do it for me just for $1,000 for a very complicated product, where they just said, give us $1,000, we'll do the new CAD stuff, you approve it, and we'll apply the $1,000 to your first order. So it cost me nothing. Or you can go to Upwork and find someone do it and modify it a little bit. I've done that. I've spent anywhere from $500 to as much as $35,000 on molding. I don't recommend you do the $35,000 if you're first starting, but yeah, you want to differentiate, because if you're just the same as everybody else on Amazon, it's going to be difficult to compete. You got to, and years ago, 10 years ago, companies paid millions of dollars for this kind of market research that you have at your fingertips now on Amazon. Just looking at customer reviews, it's like a gold mine that 10 years ago, people would stand in the mall and ask you questions, fill out surveys, and they would have focus groups and bring customers in to their New York office and say, okay, tell us what you don't like about the product. Or they'd send someone into the stores to observe people. It cost a lot of money, took a lot of time. And right now you can do it in a matter of minutes with tools on Amazon. It's amazing what you can do.
Yeah. What other tips would you give people once they've got the product here, they're ready to, it's going to Amazon? What's your next step? What do you do to get ready for the big windfall of sales?
Well, before I actually pick the product, it's all about the keywords. Everything on Amazon, success or failure on Amazon is not how much money you have. It's not how great you are at marketing. It's not how big your Facebook audience is. It's the product you choose. And you can't get hung up. A lot of people will take months and months and months to pick that one magic product. Just get going. If your first product doesn't work, you're going to learn. It's like you're getting an MBA, in Amazon. The second one's going to do well. So it's all about the keywords. You have to make sure that demand is there. And so once you've done that and you got the product over, you got to create a killer listing. You got to make sure you use the right keywords. You got to make sure you use the right title. You got to spend a little bit of money on images. So you can hire a photographer. I don't recommend you do it yourself, or there's services out there that will do it for you. And get a really, you want to put, it's kind of like dating, you want to put your best foot forward. And on your first date, you're not going to wear your sweatpants and not brush your teeth and hope that they like you. You're gonna brush your teeth and put on some cologne and wear some nice pants or whatever. So it's the same thing with Amazon. People eat with their eyes first. So when they see, they're going to judge you. They don't know who you are. They don't know you from Adam. They never heard of kevinsbrand.com or Kevin Inc. or whatever. They're going to look at the pictures and make a decision. If the price is right, it's what they're looking for, and the pictures look good, you're in. They're like, let's do it. I mean, so, and they make those decisions really fast. People, some people will study your Amazon listing, but most people are making those decisions. It's just like on a dating app. If you've ever used a dating app and you're flipping through yes, no, left for yes, right for no, left for yes, and right for no. It's the same thing on Amazon. They're making those split decisions pretty quickly in most cases.
Yeah. So you got your images, your thumbnail being the most important image. It's the first one they're going to see when they do a keyword search. Any tips on that thumbnail?
That thumbnail needs to stand out. I mean, something I like to do is whatever I'm doing with that product, I like to show it at a different angle or show it with some sort of prop if you can get away with that. You can actually, if it has a lot of pieces, you can spell something out, like
I have do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a dog treat. And so it's a bag of dog treats. And so I spell the word dog with, take the treats, the individual treats and make a D-O-G and then put the package next to it, just so that when people are scrolling through the treats, they're like, oh, what is this one? It makes you stop. I'll always take my picture and I will take Photoshop and I will superimpose it over, I'll take a screenshot of the best sellers and I'll take mine and just kind of stick it in there. And then I'll see, does it make me stop as I'm scrolling down really quick? Do the colors? I mean, colors make a difference. Make sure if you have variations, use the color that pops the most. So there's so many things you can do. You got to get that attention. And anything you can do in that main image to get that attention, you should do.
Yeah. And guys, if you want, that's a great idea, right? Sticking your thumbnail, putting it on one of the other thumbnails, just so you can see the search results and see if you look better than everything else there. If you're not sure about colors and variations, we talked about this just recently on a webinar we did. You can use a site called PickFu, and you can actually pay people. I think for as low as $20 to $50, you can go out and they'll actually tell you what's better, the red one or the green one. Which one would they buy? And you can get some really good data with that.
Yeah, I used to do some of that with Facebook. I'd run a Facebook ad and see which one got clicked on the most. But the PickFu is a really good way to, it's for $20, $50, whatever it costs, it's worth every penny. And that's where a lot of people get into this. They start pinching pennies, and you can't do that. I mean, you don't need to waste money, but you need to do this right. And so I always tell people, if you're starting this business, you need 2.5 times your initial inventory investment. So if you find a product that's going to cost you, $5,000 in inventory to buy 1,000 units or $5 a piece, you need $12,500 to get into this business to do it right. Can you succeed with less? Yeah, maybe, but you're probably not going to be one of the 13,000 that's still selling at the end of the year, each year. So you need to make sure you don't cut corners. People will cut corners on the photos. People will cut corners. I don't know if the product's going to work. I want to order a sample. I want to order 50 units and do a test. Fuck that shit. That's a waste of time. Do your homework up front and give your chance the best chance of success. Don't be piddling around here. If you're trying to make this a business and be successful, do it right. And be willing to spend a little bit of money to make sure you're doing it right. Like the PickFu idea is brilliant, because for $50, you're going to find out which picture people are more likely to gravitate to. Use that on your Amazon listing. Your chance of success is huge. I mean, I know at the Illuminati live event we're doing in Kauai, where we have a lot of big sellers, a lot of 7-8 figure sellers coming out for this really high end event that we're doing with Illuminati. One of the speakers is going to be talking about the A9 algorithm and how he's got data that he's been studying, and he's actually talked to people inside A9 that have given him some information that the first 7 days on Amazon are crucial. When you launch a new product, and they actually, some of those days they don't actually count towards your averages. They give you like a little buffer there, but he's going to be telling all about that and your relevance. And there's so many things that you got to pay attention to for the best chance of success, and be willing to spend a little bit of money and a little bit of time to make sure you give yourself that.
Yeah, that's really, really good advice. So you got your thumbnails. How many images minimum would you say you upload? And what happens if you got 4 good images and 1 decent image, okay image? Would you put that one in there as well?
I think you're a fool if you don't upload 9 images and all 9 need to be good. Now, don't upload, if you only have 4 good images and the 5th one's dark and grainy and it's the dog in the backyard taking a piss, and the treat over on the side, don't use that image. But you're going to be judged by your worst image. But try to get 9 good images that are different. Lifestyle images, you want to show the product in use. The customer wants to see that how will my life look if I'm using this? They want to see the results. So you want to show a before and after if you can. If your product is a frosty mug or whatever you're talking about earlier, you're going to want to show it empty, and you're going to want to show it full with bubbles coming out. Just like, when you see the Pepsi ads and the Coke ads, and they got the little effervescent bubbles and all the little stuff, it makes you like, that makes you kind of lick your lips. I'm a little thirsty right now. I want one. You got to do that. You got to show, if it's a polish for a car, show the car dirty and then show it clean. If it's a treat for a dog, be sure you actually show not only a happy dog, but a happy human, because people get delight out of making their dog happy. They treat them like kids. So you got to think about all those kinds of things in your images, and you need to show the image from different angles. What its major features are. I would use one of your graphic spots for like call outs, emphasizing with little bullets and arrows and whatever, does this, show it in pieces. Really, because that's your salesman. Most people on Amazon, they're not going to read your bullets and they're not going to read your description. A few will, but those are more for getting you indexed and for the anal people that just read everything. Most people are going to look at the price and they're going to look at your images. And so you can, if your images are strong, you can justify a higher price in a lot of cases.
Okay. And a lot of people, well, you mentioned, the bullets and the description is for indexing. So that's where you're putting all your keywords. So Amazon knows your product is related to those keywords. Now the images, one of the hangups I actually see people incorrectly try to correct people saying, oh yeah, you can use arrows and this, and you can use graphics, and they're like, no, you can't. Amazon doesn't allow that. They're confusing the main image, the thumbnail image, with the rest of the images, right?
Yeah, your main image is supposed to be on a white background. Now, you'll see people all the time violating this. They'll put a Santa Claus hat, or they'll put Prime Day, or they'll do something in there, but you're not technically supposed to do that. You might be able to get away with it, but you're not supposed to do that. So your main image is supposed to be on a pure white background, and you want to make sure that that image is huge. Fill up as much as of that background, almost to the edges. Don't put a little tiny image in there. Fill it up, and then the rest of the images, 2 through 9, you can do whatever the heck you want, pretty much.
Sorry. Go ahead, Kevin. You were just cut out for a second. Go ahead.
And soon you're going to have the ability, if you're brand registered, to put video in there. It's been in beta testing, so and I think that's going to be a major difference. And if you don't have good video now, you're going to want to start thinking about it, because I think that's going to be a major differentiator for a lot of people, by being able to put a video in your image stack. And so, yeah,
absolutely. So I want to go back to what you just said about. This is something I see so many people making mistakes on. Guys, your thumbnail image, or your main image, which becomes your thumbnail, right? Your primary image. Let's say that you're selling I don't know. I always drink coffee out of one of these things right here, right? So let's say you're drinking, this is your product. You want to make sure that the space between the top of your image and the bottom of your image and your product, that there's not a gap, right? On either, you want to make it as far out to each side as possible, because if you don't, it's still going to show up like that, and you're not going to see it with the white background. It's going to look like your image is much smaller than everybody else's image when you do a search. So, and you've seen this a million times, go do a search for something. The things that stand out are the really big images, right? Because they're stretching that all the way. They've got like literally 1 pixel on each side. You got to let your graphics guy or whoever's doing your photography to know that, hey, I want my product to go right up to the very edge. And Kevin, you use, you actually go beyond the resolution that Amazon asks for, right?
Yeah, I do 3,000 by 3,000. Amazon says 1,500 or 1,000 by 1,000, but I do 3,000 by 3,000 just to make sure they're really crisp and clean. And something like in your case of that mug you just showed, I might, instead of putting it up and down, if everybody else on the page is up and down, I might put it at an angle.
Like this.
Yeah, because at an angle. Something just so I stand out differently.
You could bring it a lot closer and still fill in the screen, right? Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea.
So just to stand out, because you got to catch the person as they're scrolling. Just think about it, even like in your Facebook feed, you're scrolling, whatever catches your attention is what you stop on. It's the same thing on Amazon.
Okay, great. What about advertising? People say sponsored ads. It's so confusing. Do I even need to do this when I launch my product?
Absolutely. If you don't do sponsored ads when you launch a product, you're a moron. In my opinion, you're stupid. You're just stupid. You're a penny pinching idiot. Because now you need to, at a minimum, do an automatic campaign. Now, if you don't know what, you don't have to do a manual at the beginning, but you got to do an automatic campaign, because you need to know for two reasons. One, you need to validate your product to make sure Amazon understands your product, that you're actually showing up for the keywords you should be showing up for, that you're getting clicks for keywords you shouldn't be, that you're in the right category. That's number one. Number two is you need to know what you're converting on, because you do that mug, frosty mug, and you're thinking like, look, you do your keyword research and you see that, okay, frosty mug gets, you're using Cerebro tool, for example, and doing a reverse ASIN and on the competitors, and you see frosty mug gets, 20,000 exact searches a month. You're like, I'm gonna go after frosty mug. I can compete. But frosty mug may not be what they're buying your product on. They may be buying it on insulated silver mug or some other keyword. That's what you're getting all your sales on. And that keyword may only have 5,000 exact searches a month, but you're dominating on there. So you need to know that. And there's no way you can know that without running sponsored ads. Amazon doesn't tell you anything about conversions unless you run sponsored ads. So in the beginning, you need to run automatic sponsored ads to validate, number one. And number two is to see what you're converting on. Because what I do is after I run.
All right, guys, it looks like we did lose Kevin. He's in a frozen mode there. We're going to continue this on part 2. I'm going to get him back because this is not over yet. This is really cool. So we'll see you in part 2.
Hey, I have a game changer for you. Okay, so a lot of people have been asking me what tool can they now trust and use for reverse ASIN searches. Well, I have good news. I'm incredibly happy to announce an insanely awesome new tool called Cerebro. Cerebro, that's the Spanish word for brain, and that's what this thing is. It's a keyword brain. Cerebro is the newest and most powerful tool in the Helium 10 software suite for Amazon sellers, and it's the only reverse ASIN that I'm ever going to use at this point. It's insane. Honestly, try it and you'll see for yourself. Cerebro is fast, really fast, like really, really fast. Just enter a competitor's ASIN and bam, within seconds, you get back tons of keywords. It's crazy, okay? But it gets better. Cerebro is free for everybody. That's right, guys. It's free. If all you want is keywords and you don't want to get any other data other than keywords, you don't need to go anywhere else and pay for reverse ASINs anymore. Okay? Let me say that again. You do not need to go anywhere else and pay for reverse ASIN searches ever. Okay? Forget about other tools. Everybody, that's everybody, gets 2 free uses per day on Cerebro. So that's 60 ASIN searches per month for free. How cool is that? Pretty cool, I think. So I've mentioned the word free a few times now, but we do have paid plans as well. If making money is an important part of your business plan, then paid members can use the Cerebro IQ score. Okay, we call it the Cerebro IQ score, and that shows you which keywords have the best ratio of search volume to total competing products. This is a game changer, guys. So I want to know which keywords I can rank number 1 for and know the exact volume of sales I need per day to achieve that. And you can watch my ranking strategy video once you are signed into Cerebro. Okay, watch that video by clicking the blue Learn button. And then you'll be able to figure out how I actually do my ranking and get number 1 rankings for the keywords that I want. Now, paid users can also see the most accurate search volume data I've ever seen for keywords, allowing you to make smart decisions on which keywords to use in your listings. This is why I said I don't use any other tools now for keywords, just Cerebro. And in the past, I've said that. I said, go out there and use a bunch of different keyword tools, including ours, so that you can get a lot of data. No longer the case. I'm not saying that. Cerebro is all you need. Trust me on this, okay? I'm redoing all of my listings now with the data from Cerebro, and I'm going to be talking about the results that I get from these changes in future podcasts. I would love to see you as a paid Helium 10 member, but remember, everybody gets 60 ASIN searches per month for free. That's 2 per day. That's the way we set it up. So if all you want is up to 2,000 keywords per ASIN without any other analytics data, boom, you're set. If you're a power user that wants to crush your competition, then upgrade to the gold, the platinum, the diamond plan, and get all of the analytics. That's what I do. That's what all the big guys crushing it on Amazon are doing. Okay, so you can try Cerebro today at helium10.com. Remember, it's free if you'd like. And please be a superstar, okay? Go out there and let other Amazon sellers know that they can now get reverse ASIN searches for free. Okay, they don't have to go and pay for them anywhere else. For free with Cerebro, and that's at helium10.com.
You've been listening to the AMPM podcast hosted by Manny Coates. For more information, insider tools, and to get the resources mentioned in this episode, visit ampmpodcast.com.